Hi, welcome to financialfreedomradio.com. Last week, we talked about eroding factors and how they can devastate your financial world. Most financial planners don't understand them, and we're going to talk about them, and you will. Stay tuned.
From Philadelphia, the home of the Liberty Bell, Financial Freedom Radio starts now. Here's your host, Raymond Jewell.
Hi, welcome back. You know, we've been talking about eroding factors and we've been talking about a lot of hidden costs and everything. And I got to tell you, I'm not shooting at financial planners uh, for being the type of people. I mean, they're good people, but they just don't know, and they can cost you a lot of money over your lifetime, over your financial lifetime. And so we're going to talk about it. We keep exploring this, and you go back and you watch a couple of these videos, and you'll see that you'll see the continuity there. We're trying to maintain continuity and keep building on the last episode. But before we get started, let's check in with our producer Steve and see how he's doing. Hey, Stevie, how are you?
Hey, Ray, how are you? I'm doing good, thanks.
Are you still quarantined?
We're still quarantined. I think we're starting to open up a little bit here, though, so it's long overdue and much welcomed.
Yeah, we will. We drove down. I live in Naples, as you know, and we drove downtown, and there were some people walking around. Some had masks on, and some didn't. So we stopped and we had a little Italian ice place that we like, and got a gelato, and
That's cool.
sat outside for a little bit, and then came home.
Yeah,
So
I'm ready to go out on a date with my wife again. That would be nice.
as long as I'm still healthy and well, so far so good.
So
Knock
far.
on wood. Yeah. So we're going to dig in today, and feel free to chime in, Steve, if you have anything you want to add. I know
You
that
will.
you like to give me the simplified perspective. A lot of times I get deep into what Steve calls techno babble, and I don't mean to do that. But as an economist, I tend to assume you know. And so when I start going down these roads of technobabble, he likes to step in and stop me.
I
Excuse
like
me.
to dumb
Well,
it
we're gonna
down for me.
dumb it down. There you go. That's a better word. I didn't want to say that, but
I'll say it.
since you did, it's fine. Technological change. This is something that's very serious. And we've got technological change, planned obsolescence, financial expenses, lost opportunity cost, interest rate declines, and stock market declines, interest charges and loans, lawsuits, and that's a few of the eroding factors we're going to go through today. But let's start with technological change. This is very important in that most people don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. And if you add it up over your lifetime, it's huge. Can you imagine in 1980 thinking that you were going to end up spending probably $1,000 a year or more on a telephone and the bill?
That would have been crazy.
Or I know, or upgrading computers. So if you put the and we could go into any technological change. That's what happens when you get old. You get all gravelly, and that's this is just water, by the way. Um, I just want to make that really clear.
Sure it is.
So, so when you look at it, it takes a big bite out of your financial world, and if you haven't planned on it, it can suck up a huge amount of dollars of wealth. And just think about it: if you're spending $2,000 or $3,000 a year on new technology, new innovations to make your life easier, or because you just got to have them, iPads, uh, and I'm just as guilty of it as everybody. If that's not in your financial plan, that's going to erode away a lot of wealth. Now, we're talking about creating wealth for you to live on over your lifetime and in retirement. A lot of times people don't pay a whole lot of attention to the latter, retirement. But you want to enjoy it now, enjoy it later, and leave it to your family. So many times we keep putting off for later. And as we talked last week, we have one exponential curve in life, and that's where it starts and just grows like this, and it just grows up gradually to the top. That exponential curve is only one we have in our lifetime. So we have to do it right, or we keep starting over. And when we start over, we have less time. The issue is that we don't plan for all the eroding factors. We don't plan to enjoy it now and enjoy it later. We're just enjoying it now without worrying about later. And we get so many dollars flow through our hands over our lifetime that we don't really understand. Most people are losing 10 to 20% of wealth over their lifetime, and they don't know it. So we want to try to identify it, and our models actually give you the tools to see where they are and see how devastating they're going to be in the future and how you can offset it. It's a macro view. So when we look at technological change, we want to make sure that we've programmed into our life a design that will allow us to enjoy it without sacrificing the future. I sit back in my lifetime, I've gone through DVDs, DVRs. What was the big Betamax?
Betamax, yeah.
Movies, that
Reel to
kind of
reel,
stuff.
yeah.
Reel to reel. And it's amazing the technology that we've actually seen in our lifetime. And it's amazing how we've progressed from the reel to reel to where we are today. But people don't plan for that. Can you imagine how much money you could recoup if you were able to at least have dollars budgeted for that? So that's one of the eroding factors. Another one is planned obsolescence. And we've talked about these before. And it's kind of the cousin of technological change. Planned obsolescence is when products are designed to have a shorter lifespan than what is possible. Years ago, washing machines ran forever. And it was just amazing. Refrigerators ran forever. Now, 10 years, they're gone. We went through one washer in, 8 years.
Wow.
And it needed a new motor. And the motor was $500. It was cheaper to go buy a new washer. You paid a couple $100 more. But
they do that today with
what's
printers.
that?
Printers are the same way.
I look at my printer over here in the corner. I'm having trouble with it, but it was $49. Well, 49, and if I do that 2 or 3 times a year because they crap out, it's crazy. It's an aftermarket that these product developers plan into their products, into their R&D.
Yep.
It lasts so long, and then they have to decide whether you're going to replace it and run the risk of you replacing it with something different, or maybe have a fix that is priced just under the replacement. So it's crazy. I mean, my favorite one is, Steve, you're going to love this, on my wife's Range Rover Sport. She has the little, and I'm not dropping names just to do it.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. She has these little temperature knobs, and they got real sticky and gooey because the coating they put on the knobs, when it heats up, it kind of gets sticky and it gets dirt and dust all on it. And so I wanted to replace the knobs. So I called Land Rover and I said, I'd like to have the knobs. Oh, you've got to replace the whole assembly, which is $700. I said, it's just 3 knobs. So I went on YouTube that's my education center for advanced education, by the way.
YouTube
And
University, yeah.
I took a butter knife and I popped them off as per YouTube, and went and put them in some hot water and goof off, and it took it off, and I put them back on. But do you think that they would have told me that at Land Rover? No. So, planned obsolescence, products breaking down. The life expectancy of the products is it has to be planned on in your financial plan. Financial expenses. This is one that most people don't understand, and when you actually figure it out, it's mind-boggling. There are fees and all sorts of hidden charges in financial products. So when you go and buy a mutual fund, you've got all sorts of upfront fees, you've got uh, commissions, you've got back end fees, you've got front end fees, you've got annual fees. And when you break them out, they are huge. If you went to a financial planner, you'd pay them an upfront fee, and then you'd pay them probably an annual fee with built-in inflation kickers in it. A lot of people don't go to financial planners because they're afraid of the cost. But yet they'll put money in mutual funds, and the mutual funds suck up fees. And you have to be a genius to understand when you read the prospectus of where the fees are. And I asked several clients one time that had mutual funds, I said, "Did you ever read the prospectus?" And they said, "No, because it's that thick."
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to be a financial genius to read the thing. It has all sorts of fees and hidden charges and everything. And so they're paying all this money and they don't even know it. What's the lost opportunity cost to that? We've talked about lost opportunity costs. When you pay money and you get nothing in return, what's the cost of spending that money? So if you're getting growth in one hand and you're spending fees and your lost opportunity cost out of the other hand, are you really getting the rate of return that you think you're getting? You may get a rate of return here, but you pay taxes and fees and everything out of this pocket over time that doesn't show up here. So when you look at fees and charges, you want to break them out. You want to understand where they are. And you can ask the financial guy, but they don't want to tell you. 9 times out of 10, they may not know.
I was going to say, they don't even know.
That's right. Remember their 4 rules. They got to get your money, get it on a systematic and ongoing basis, hang on to it for as long as possible, and give it back as little as possible. They violate those rules, they're out of business. So lost opportunity costs, we've talked about that many, many times before, eroding factors. And the lost opportunity costs are huge. Interest rate declines. You just saw that, didn't you, Steve?
A little bit, yeah.
You want to share that with us?
So it's kind of a sad story, but yeah, I got Ray was walking me through his consultation stuff that he does, and we were talking about it would probably be a good idea for me to get a savings account because I don't have a savings account. I have an emergency fund, but putting that emergency fund in a savings account to get some interest would be a good thing. And so I went and I researched and I found
You have a savings account, but it wasn't interest bearing.
right. So I went and I did the research and I found, and get this, a savings account with a 1.5% interest rate, which is unheard of today. And normally it's 0.1, 0.2, 0.1% of your money, they'll give you an interest. So this 1.5 was huge. So I put the money in. The very next week after I put the money in, they said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're dropping our rate to 1.3, but it's still very competitive." I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. So interest rate declines. I mean, over the period of time that I've been doing this for 40 years, I've seen interest rates go up and down and up and down. So we're
I
on a
remember when
down
you could get
cycle.
5 or 8% on a savings account. I remember that. My mom had me create a
Yeah.
savings account. I was getting 5%. I was tickled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we've got stock market declines. Well, we just saw that. So people put their money in the markets and then they check it every day. Well, why do you check something every day? Because you know it's going to go up and down. By the time you figure that it's gone up or down, it's too late. The damage has already happened on the downside, and on the plus side, things to the positive have already happened. So, one of the things that we want to look at are the fluctuations. Is the stock market a good place for you to have your money? Are you going to give your money to somebody that you've never met before and let them invest your money for you? That's what you do when you call Schwab or you call Ameritrade or any of these places that advertise on TV. You're turning your money over to somebody that you've never uh, met before and let them manage your money. Well, let me ask you this. If your brother in law showed up, or your sister or brother, or a family friend, and said to you, "Hey, would you give me $10,000? I'm going to invest it for you." You wouldn't let them. You'd
That's a good
laugh
point.
at them.
That's a good point.
But yet, you're giving it to somebody you don't even know. And sometimes there's a fancy guy on TV that some actor that's saying, "Well, I've given my money to this company for years and blah 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 blah," or Ameritrade has Dolph Lundgren, whatever his name is, on one of their ads. And what's that got to do with investing? You give your money to people you don't even know, and you expect them to do the right thing. Let that kick around for a while. Stock market declines we saw, interest rate charges and loans. Um, eh, we pay interest on all sorts of stuff for the use of using people's money. Being a bank is a very profitable thing. And so we pay people money to use their their money, their stuff, to buy things that we finance. What's all those charges going to cost us? So we want to know whether what we're spending is a lot or not. Our simulation models actually bring that out. Lawsuits. We hope we never get sued, but
So
that
does the
could cost
government.
us a lot of money. So that could cost us a lot of money. So we want to understand that a sound offense is a good defense, and financial planners do not understand eroding factors. They don't understand when your money's getting eroded away. They don't understand how to offset them. They only understand how to get your money, get it on a systematic and ongoing basis, hang on to it for as long as possible, and give it back as little as possible. They work for the financial institutions. So the good header today would be: financial planners do not understand eroding factors. Or a more harsher one would be: financial planners are ignorant of eroding factors, depending on how crazy we want to be with our headline. But that being said, we're going to wrap it up for now. Next week, we're going to talk about inaccurate and misleading information. We're building the basis for the model. We're building a basis so you can understand your financial world. And if you go back and you watch these in sequence, these videos, these shows, you will see a progression of information. And please, we hope that if you made it this far, please ask your friends to come and to watch our show, to tell their friends, so that we can build our viewer base, and also push that little bell. That little bell will ring when we put a new show up. So I want to thank you all for coming, downloading, and watching financialfreedomradio.com. I want you to have a great week, great weekend. Take care, and God bless you.
Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. If you want to learn how to create real sustainable wealth like the extremely rich people do, or maybe you just want to sustain the wealth you already have, you need to check out Dr. Ray's new book, Why the Rich Are Rich. Ray's been coaching clients for 35 years and has completely unlocked the secret strategies that rich people use day in and day out to grow and sustain their wealth regardless of what's going on in the economy. His book is completely free, and you can get it by going to whythericharerich.com and entering your email address. Again, that's whythericharerich.com. Head over there now.